All right, welcome to the Franchise Time Machine. Make sure I can hear myself. All right, how's that? Can I hear myself now? Yes, I can. All right. Got a fun experiment today. I think Dr. Dynastic is about to raid into us, though, so I will hold off on explaining the details until that raid comes in. And then after the stream, we'll be raiding into the Nolan Network, who is going to go on a little bit earlier than normal at 5:30 Pacific time. We've shifted everything up a little bit. Dr. Dynastic is ending a little earlier. He's got, I think, some family commitments. So I'm starting earlier, which is great because I need to end earlier. I've got some family commitments. And fortunately, today, the Nolan Network can go on early. So it sounds like that's going to work out well for everybody. And here's Dr. Dynastic. Dr. Dynastic, thank you for the raid. Welcome in, Raiders. I always enter Dr. Dynastic's last pack giveaway before he ends the stream. And I think one time I won it right before he raided in. Totally seen rigged, I'm sure, to everybody. But thank you for the stream, Dr. Dynastic, and thank you for the raid. So we have there are a few experiments I do in the base game now that I believe are going to become just kind of annual traditions. When the new game comes out, we're going to test it out to see are there any noticeable differences between how the game engine is working for this version versus the one we just finished that we just spent a year playing in and got used to. And with none of these experiments am I expecting any major changes. Just have there been any tweaks or any changes to the run environment? I think these experiments are really helpful if you play base game, of course. If you're in an online league like the Red Rock League that plays in the base game engine, PvE Sim, EMLB, there are several, right? Because if you understand how certain attributes perform better or worse in OOTP26 than they did in OOTP25, that might be helpful to you as you make player or managerial decisions. And to a lesser extent, they seem to have been helpful in Perfect Team. The lesser extent is probably because the game engines are not identical. And this is something we learned from the OOTP folks directly, that the engines are related, but not identical. But I do think the experiments are one reason why... BD Cables, thank you for the follow. These experiments are one reason why my Perfect Team performance at the start of this cycle is much better than it was at the beginning of PT25. I think I had a really hard time adjusting to the differences in the Perfect Team run environment and simulation engine between Perfect Team 24, which is the first time I played. I started in December of Perfect Team 24, so I played about four months maybe of Perfect Team 24. Got really into it, and Perfect Team 24, for those of you who might remember, was very like P-BABIP focused. I think it seemed like I was especially effective too. And then when PT25 started, I had a really hard time adjusting. Like, I was able to start winning tournaments and stuff and qualifying for PTCS towards the end of Perfect Team 24 after just, a month or two. PT25, I don't think I won a tournament for the first couple months. I did qualify for some PTCSs, mostly just through volume. I would play enough tournaments and finish, at the bottom end of earning points, but enough so to qualify. But definitely did not feel like I understood the meta or how the game engine was working in PT25 until several months in. And so I think, and we did these experiments during the middle of PT25 when I started streaming. I wasn't streaming at the beginning of PT25. But I definitely made a mental note to say, okay, I want to do these experiments that kind of test how the game engine works at the beginning of the next cycle. So when PT20 or OOTP26 comes out. And the VODs should still be up on my Twitch. You can check those out. We did note some. Basically, we note what attributes seem to be the most impactful in terms of generating runs or preventing runs. And we also made note of like in what ways do they seem to differ from what we just saw on OOTP 25. And they weren't major differences. I think they feel more major in Perfect Team. Again, it might be because the Perfect Team engine is different, or it might be because the Perfect Team format is so different. But they definitely seem to be heightened in Perfect Team. But a lot of things that we saw in those early OOTP 26 experiments, I think are being confirmed now by people who analyze data, tournament data, people who do the modeling. Some of the things they're saying also kind of align with what we've been talking about. So yeah, so this is one that we did in 25 that I've been looking forward to doing in 26. I thought I'd save it for an afternoon stream so more people could see it and participate in the pack giveaway where we guess how this experiment's going to go. And this will be another one of those that I do early in the cycle of OTP 27 and hopefully every cycle going forward to just see like, okay, let's kick the tires on the new simulation engine. And maybe some years there won't be any noticeable difference, but this year we did note a few things and it seems like they are kind of panning out in Perfect Team as well. M. Taylor Racing, I'm glad you're excited for this episode. Yeah, strategies is a thing that I think is either mysterious and or intimidating to players who are new to Perfect Team. I do think if you've been playing the base game, it does help you understand how these things work a bit more. But even I know lots of experienced base game players who don't mess with the strategies very much, or they just import the strategies of managers they like. So yeah, so today we're going to test out. Now, I will say when we did this in 25, I knew a lot less about how to conduct a good experiment in OTP. So I think we've learned a lot. So I think hopefully we'll get more meaningful results. When we did this in 25, we didn't get very meaningful results. And at the time, I thought one of our OTP community members, and let's give him a shout out because he is a variety streamer, mostly focusing on sports games, Baffle99, made a great observation. And to my regret, I even said that he was a genius for coming up with this insight. And of course, he's never let me forget that. But his insight was that maybe the strategies aren't important or meaningful because all of our players in this test league are completely average, which I thought was a really good point. Like maybe it doesn't matter all these things you do if all the teams are exactly the same. Since then though, I think we've learned, oh yeah, all this stuff, BD Cable, all of my streams are up on Twitch until Twitch takes them down. And then when I can remember to do it, I've been exporting batches of streams to YouTube. So you can watch some of my older streams on YouTube too. There are a bunch missing because like I get busy and I forget to export once in a while. And when I do a batch, I might have like waited too long, so some might have gotten deleted. But on YouTube, it's also Franchise Time Machine, all one word. But yeah, any recent stream will be on my Twitch videos. And any older streams that have made it to the export will be on YouTube. And any experiments I do and all the community games we do, if it's not in that specific episode, look for a similar one. And you can see me set them up too. Because none of this is intended to be like secret sauce. It's all stuff that I want people to be able to do on their own if they want to. And the other thing I guess is most times I stream are 10 p.m. Pacific time, pretty late, following Ezra Denny and OOTP After Dark. But every Friday, I try to get on around 4 o'clock after Dr. Dynastic, to reach a different audience, to kind of share what we do with people who can't make it to the late night stream. Kinda, you might want to hold off on your predictions because there is going to be a pack giveaway form for this stream or this sim. In fact, I will be streaming again tonight at 10 p.m. Pacific time, but instead of an experiment or a simulation, it'll be part 2 of PTCS roster building. So last night I built my bronze iron roster. I do have to build 2 more versions of that for 2 other accounts that made it in to bronze iron. I'm hoping to do those off stream. I don't know if I'll have enough time. But then tonight I'll be doing my gold silver rosters. I need to do 2 of those. And I'll be doing my draft daily, one of those, and my draft weekly, one of those. So if you want to see how people build their PTCS rosters, we also usually have a pretty active chat. In particular, Claydog and Smiley Face Jane are usually around and very helpful. And I think they're usually building their rosters at the same time. So we have a good time all kind of just working on that together. But yeah, if you want to come check that out. And then, this weekend, Saturday, Sunday, we'll be doing experiments and maybe some simulations and stuff. All right, so let's put the form up in the chat or in the stream. This is the pack giveaway form for today. And I usually finish writing it in the stream, so mostly so that the chat can help me find my mistakes. And also so you get a little preview of the question, so that if you're not sure what I mean by a question, I'd rather we hash that out in the stream than have to edit and republish the form, because then that can get kind of messy when it comes to compiling the guesses. Alright, so here's what the form looks like so far. I do have to delete this whole first section because this is from a previous experiment. Okay, for me it's afternoon. In this afternoon stream, we will be testing the impact of the 8 preset team strategies in OOTP26. We will be using the single division 8-team version of the completely Rev Junior says strategies. What nonsense are those? Will King says, I like all the slider bars to be set exact neutral middle. Only exception is stealing, which I turn off. And then for the fast guys, you just turn on manually. Yeah, I do know a lot of people tend to use the individual player strategy override for stealing, which I think makes a lot of sense. 18 version of the completely average league. In this league, all players are have their attributes set to major league, set to be identical and as close to MLB average as possible. That's also from the previous version of this sim. I think we're going to turn modifiers off because we're not bringing anybody in. So that's one change. All batters and pitchers are right-handed. So that takes all handedness out. There are some sliders that deal with left-right matchups. Those will not be important. Whether that helps or hurts a particular strategy, I don't know. One thing I am going to do this cycle is I'm going to create a version of this this league where we are going to have some lefties and righties. So we can test some things like these left-right matchups. In particular, there seem to be a lot of questions about how the lefty specialist works or doesn't work, and we can't test that right now because we have no lefties. Jerxy said that I found my straight stolen base percentage were pretty good for my fast guys. All the cost deals on the team were coming from dumb hit and run. Yeah, I definitely for my personal teams I turn bunting and hit and run all the way down. Um, I think managers of a certain era are may bunt more. I just see them as kind of not so much wasted outs, but the juice isn't worth the squeeze for those plays for me. But situation though, I can see ninth inning, bottom of the ninth, tie game. Like maybe you bunt a runner over with no out to get a runner in scoring position with one out. That I can see. Even I might do that if I were managing a game, which I sometimes do in the base game. But in a setting where like I'm just setting the strategy for the AI to run, I don't know if I trust the AI to make that fine of a distinction. Bunting would be negative if kind and good. That's amazing. Okay, this is usually set up in two 4-team sub leagues that don't have interleague play. I should actually have that with no interleague play. But for this team, all 8 teams will play in one league. This is because we want all 8 teams to be facing each other so we can make sure we're capturing all of those competitive dynamics. The other big thing we're going to do tonight, which we do in a lot of our experiments, is we're going to take this into a, instead of a 162 game season, it's going to be a 1620 game season. So basically we get 10x the sample size. And we tested this before, and we don't see any long-term effects of having a 10 times longer season. We don't see any like extra fatigue or any strange results of like scoring going way up or going way down as we get into like the 1,500th game of the season. It's a simulation, so it does just seem to simulate. It's just another week. It's just another month. It's just another season. And it just keeps going. So AutoCalc, I don't think it even matters. We can keep the modifiers off. They just won't kick in because we're not adding any new players. We're just changing strategies. So to reiterate, the only differences between the 8 teams. Which team strategy? Just to make sure, we will even change. Oh, coaching is off, so I'll put this might not even be an option because coaching is turned off. So, I mean, down to height and weight, down to the hit by pitch frequency, every batting and pitching rating, all these teams should be identical. Now, for fielding, infielders have infielder ratings that are all similar or the same. Outfielders have all outfield ratings that are the same. So there is some difference between infielders and outfielders and catchers. We did make some difference between starting pitchers, relievers, and closers. But across the teams, those differences are also exactly the same. So every team is indistinguishable from a ratings perspective as every other team. They all play in neutral stadiums. There's as little as possible varying between these teams. As far as I know, there's nothing that varies between the teams. Nothing visible, at least in editor. So the 1620 games is a big difference. I'll even put it in the title because it's that big of a difference. And let's bold this. And let's bold that. Okay. So it's a pack giveaway. It's 7 packs for first place, 3 packs for second place. The way we do the tiebreakers has changed a little bit. We're going to have some multiple choice questions up front. Those are kind of Survivor style. If we make it to the numerical questions, the quantitative questions, those are going to be whoever gets the most right or is the closest on the most of them, they are going to win. Because they're kind of in an arbitrary order, and it's not really fair to make one of them like the first cut in a Survivor style. So all the numerical questions are just going to be part of one big competition. Shadow Lab likes the attention to the bold. Yes, I try to make sure people understand what we're doing and what we're asking for, especially in the afternoon stream, because I know a lot of you don't see my normal stream, which is late at night. All right, I will ask you for your OTP login ID. This is necessary to get you your packs. It is case sensitive. We have had some mix up because as new players come in with the new game and are new to Twitch and new to our streams, they might not realize how important this is. It is case sensitive. If it's wrong, you might not get your packs if you win. So please be careful typing that in. The Twitch username is just for us to use during the stream today, to let you know like who's still alive in the competition, who wins, and so on. This, you can have typos. It doesn't have to be case sensitive, whatever. I mean, let's keep it clean though, people. Come on. Yes, Rev Jr., imagine paying attention and giving answers that make logical sense. Okay, so the first few questions I think are pretty clear. Now, one of the things that's changed since we had this first version is we used to assume, because all the teams were identical, whichever team finished first in the standings had the biggest advantage, whether it's the best strategy or the best attribute that had been boosted or the least negative attribute that had been nerfed. But as we went through the experiments, we realized there's just too many sources of RNG, random number generator, quirkiness, that it compounds when you go to wins and losses. So since late in OOTP25, we've been judging our experiments based on runs scored, runs allowed, run differential. There's still a lot of RNG involved there, but there's a little less than there is to go from there to wins and losses. The other thing we've done, of course, is increasing the sample size by doing 10 times longer season. And so that should also help. Now, if after all those changes, the results are still super muddy, then it could be that Baffle's comment is still very true, that maybe strategies don't matter much if everyone's identical. We'll see. But the first question is, which team will score the most regular season runs? Now, I'll go through very briefly which strategies are what, but presumably if you're watching the stream, you have the game. You can go pull these up yourself too and take a look. Which team will allow the fewest regular season runs? Right, there are some defensive strategies in there as well. Gigaspeed, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. So most runs, fewest runs, and then best run differential. And by best, I would mean positive, right? More runs scored than runs allowed. And these are the 8 strategies that the game offers you. When you go to strategies and you go to the pull down, you have these, and then you have, I forget what they call it, but it's the one where it randomly issues you a strategy. And then there's a line, and then below the line you can import and export strategies. we're just going to test the 8 preset strategies. I think God, what is the random one called? I want to say idiosyncratic, but that's not right. It's actually, I should just pull it up in the game. I have the game open over here. Unorthodox, maybe. Yes. Oh, Reb Jr., thank you. Unorthodox. Yes. Yes. Okay, then another question that I've always wondered, which we did test for last time. There are 6 strategies that are versions of 3 strategies. Moderate and not moderate or standard versions of small ball, sabermetric, or tactician. I thought about asking these 2 at a time. Which will be better, moderate small ball or small ball? Which will be better, moderate small ball or sabermetric? I didn't want to use this though to knock out a bunch of people in the pack giveaway. I will be looking at it for sure. I'll be interested to see if there are any patterns. But of these 6, which group is going to have will have okay. The individual team with the best run differential. Wait, let me make sure this is right. Of the 3 strategies have both moderate. Let me just start this over. There are. I'm going to set up from the question. There are 3 strategies that have moderate and standard versions. Of these 6 strategies, the individual team with the best run differential, there you go. Will the individual team with the best run differential come from a moderate or standard version? This is or tactician. We're not doing all of these together versus all of these together. It's just of the 6, one will be best. You know what? Let's just change this to moderate version. I know. One of the moderate versions. One of the standard, not moderate versions. So what happens when one of the other 2 are the highest? What do you mean? Oh no, this is a separate question just between these 6. It doesn't matter if they're the worst 6 or the best 6, just between these 6 is a moderate or a standard going to be the best. Yeah. That's why it's of the 6 strategies. Will the individual team with the best run differential come from a moderate or standard version? Okay, then. How many wins by the regular season? Now we start the numerical questions. This is where we're going to go with whoever gets the most of these right or is closest to the most of these. How many wins by the regular season wins by the regular season champion? First in the standings at the end of the regular season. Part of this is if strategy makes a big difference, one of these teams might win 100 games. If it doesn't make the big difference, the best team might be, an 89 win team if everyone's crammed together. So this is kind of to get a sense of what is everybody thinking in terms is one team really going to jump out ahead? And then these are from a different sim, so let me see. Oh yes, I need to add the reminder. It's a 1,620 game season. Don't forget. So don't guess 89 wins. Guess 890 wins. Yeah. So catering, thank you for that reminder. We are dealing with a 1,620 game season. I will add this reminder to most of the questions, I think. How many regular season runs scored by the team that allows the that scores the most? And usually I give a major league average. So I'm just going to look that up in BREF. Let me pull up a BREF here. Okay. It's the 2024 run environment. So I'll show you what I'm doing in BREF. I just looked up 2024 MLB. This is one of the things you get is the standard batting. And if you go to the bottom, it has league average. League average is 711 runs scored. Okay. Next is how many regular seasons runs allowed. That allows the fewest. Let me all caps those. Allowed. Fewest. Now I'm going to check pitching just in case, but my assumption is that the runs allowed should be the same as the runs scored. And it is. I just wanted to double check that. Mathematically, it's the only thing that makes sense, but 711 runs allowed. And let's go back a question and make sure that this is runs scored and the most regular season runs. Okay. Okay, runs allowed. Let's do how many regular season stolen bases by a team with the most steals. Okay, that major league average is 121. Right, and you'll have to remember some strategies are going to be cranking this up, some will be taking it way down. How many regular season sacrifice hits? And the sacrifice hit average is 15. Sacrifice hits. Oh, you know what? I think I need to change the parenthetical for the one before it to stolen bases. Yeah, let me just put the number so I don't have to edit this every time. I already wrote it here, so I'll just do that. I did not mean to be on mute. I muted myself to cough and then I left it on mute. I don't know how long I've been on mute. Was I on mute when I invited Shadow Lab to let me know if I'm doing anything wrong from a survey design perspective? Because if he does work in surveys, I would definitely like to know. Oh man, okay, so I've been on mute for a while. I was totally on mute. Okay. I I did read Shadow Lab's message from the chat, and I thought it was funny that he left work where he works on surveys, turned on the stream, and saw me working in a survey. Felt like he was back at work, and that's why I invited him to let me know, or them to let me know, if I'm doing anything problematic here. Okay, so I think we have enough numerical ones to have a good tiebreaker here. Yes, please send me a detailed bullet point email. Let's see what. Well, yeah. Well, Rep Junior, you're a master at filling out surveys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 questions. Yeah, that's a good number of questions for the. And again, it's whoever gets the closest answer the most times in those 7 questions that'll take the tiebreaker. All right, so let's see. Let me put the title slide back up for a second while I publish this form. And I'll put it in the chat. All right, good luck, everybody. Here's the link to form for this afternoon's we also do pack giveaways during the nighttime stream too, even if it's the same day. So OOTP Developments kindly gave me that permission to do that, which is real nice. Okay, so yeah, so let's now you do not have to fill out the form if you don't want to until right before we start simulating. I will let you know when I'm about to close the form. All right, so let's pull the game up. And let's start. This will be a really simple setup this time around. So, maybe I should give people some time to fill out their forms. Do I have any perfect drafts I need to do before the stream ends? Let's see. I'm not in that one. I might have a team in this one. Let's take a look. For those of you who don't know, with every license of the game you buy, you can create 3 accounts. And when I started streaming, I bought a second license, thinking somehow I would want to have a separate streaming license and a non-streaming license. In the end, it didn't matter. But I now have 6 accounts and 6 teams. And so sometimes the easiest way to know if I'm in a tournament is not to go through all the accounts, but to just look to see if any of my 6 names are in here. Yeah, I'm not in that one. I usually don't do Rocking Chair. This Laptop Hounds stream tournament, both of them are fantastic. There's an early and a late. They're in 2 different eras, but they're both lower level cards, bronze and iron. Awesome tournaments. Great way to learn the card set, the lower level card set. And knowing that lower level card set will make you a much better speed draft player. If for no other reason, that is a great reason to play the 5L and the 6L, as they're called. Reb Jr. was the first winner of that tournament this cycle. That's awesome. I was either the first or the second person to win back-to-back 5Ls back in PT24. I was pretty proud of that as a new player. That was pretty awesome. So yeah, I do have this Friday Night Live, but I will be done with the stream and be back from picking up the kids before that one. So I think we're good. I think we can just go to the setup now. Do I have any traditional tournaments I want to sign up for? Not right now. I should be signed up for everything I want to be in right now. So we're good. All right. By the way, Reb Jr., that tournament, it does draw a lot of the best players, best tournament players. So winning that is tough. And also, so Laptop Pound has a monthly competition, a leaderboard where you get 4 points for winning it, 3 points for finishing second. And I can't remember if he does 2 points if you lose the semifinal to the eventual winner, or if the semifinal players each get 1 point. But anyway, whoever has the most points at the end of the month wins packs. And I think partly because it's so community based, but the community is full of some of the best players. It's a really competitive tournament. Ochoa, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Oh, there's no leaderboard yet since it was on the 28th of release. That's amazing. still, still, I bet it drew the same caliber of player. So that's still an accomplishment. Still an accomplishment. All right, so let's fire this up. I do have a quick start for this. And you see, average league, this quick start is the 4-team sub leagues with no interleague play. That lets us do 2 separate, smaller experiments. For this, we're going to use the 8-team league, average league 8, because we want all these teams playing against each other. This is going to be experiment strategies V1. The quick starts are really handy. I've really taken to them since they were introduced. I believe they first appeared in OOTP25. To me, they are like backups that are much easier to access and use. I get thoroughly confused by the file navigation windows in OOTP. So I find the quick starts to be a much easier way to save backups and access them. Tommy, all I do is win. Welcome in. Good seeing you. We raided into Tommy, all I do is win the other night. All right, we do have to play in commissioner mode because we are going to be messing around with some. Oh, actually, you know what? For a change, I don't think we do need to be in commissioner mode, but just in case, we will start in commissioner mode. All right, now 2 things that don't get saved as part of the quick start are the mailbox settings. And I just have some defaults that I use to make sure we get notifications for things like all-star voting and postseason awards. I don't think for this stream it'll be as important because we're not testing individual player attributes. But then also these settings that determine when the game will interrupt the sim. We want to be interrupted as little as possible. There is a do not disturb option here, which is 1 click. And it's nice. It gives the AI a little more control than I want it to have in our experiments. So I don't use that. I just do like a de facto do not disturb here. But all the settings that are described in the pack giveaway form are already set. Injuries are off, all that stuff. So the first thing I like to do is rename our teams for our experimental teams. This way, when I'm making the changes, I just look at the team name and I know what to do. So under league settings, it opens up a whole new set of sub menus. And under the functions, which is the default for league settings, I go to league structure. So I can change all these at the same time.
Why do you keep following me around?
Okay, Tony, thank you for the follow. All right, so the team names, again, are based on the strategies. So we have traditional. Oh, actually, let's do the abbreviation. The reason for this is some of the tables pull the city name, some pull the nickname, some pull the abbreviation. So I like to have the name we're looking for everywhere. Moderate small ball. Small ball. Sabermetric. I know a lot of people like running sabermetric. Moderate sabermetric.
Oh, I think I did these in the wrong order. I don't think it matters, but just in case. Moderate tactician. And tactician. Okay, so now you just have to go back and forth here a little bit, and then the new names will show up. Okay, we'll just start at the top with balanced. We'll go to strategy. This is where you'll see every one of the strategies. We'll start with traditional. Oh no, it's going in alphabetical order, so we'll start with balanced. Why is my mouse going crazy? Oh, it's this other mouse. Okay. All right. Balanced. This is why I renamed the names first, the teams first. Now I just look up here and I know what I'm doing. This is team balanced. This is for the most part down the middle. Ochoa is worried that this one will shatter everything you know about OTP. It does happen sometimes. It is true. Actually, those are my favorite streams because then I feel like I actually learned something. So you can see some of these are a little negative. Some are... These are mostly +1, -1. They're mostly right down the middle. All right, so that's balanced. Balanced has a nice ring to it. It does, doesn't it? All right, moderate sabermetric. Okay, it's a little more negative on a lot of the offensive strategies except for base running. It's on the minus side for pitch run and intentional walk. It's towards the middle for most of the other stuff, but it's on the plus side for the shifts. And on the subbing, it's a little slow on the reliever hook. It does use the matchups a bit more and the pinch hitting a little bit more, and also is on the plus side for pinch runners. Moderate small ball. Here's moderate small ball. Again, a lot more down the middle, but it's a little bit. It's slightly plus on all the offensive strategies, and I believe it's a little more plus on things like hold runners, but it's slightly negative on the shifting, and it does use a little more pinch hitting. Again, it's moderate, so it's everything's pushed more towards the middle. You'll see more of the true nature of small ball when we get to the non-moderate version of it. Moderate tactician. Okay, team moderate tactician. Moderate tactician. Okay, slightly more positive on the stealing and base running. Slightly more positive on the shifting. Slightly more positive on the matchups and the pinch hitting and pinch running. All right, so just a little more hands-on, I think. Moderate tactician got the Mets colorway. Oh no. Mod tactician get a mod tactician if they're anything like the Mets. All right, let's see. Sabermetric. This is where you get the true feel for the strategy. Wow, that's pretty generous, Shadow Lab. I always think of the Mets collapse happening in August. So this is where you get the true nature of the sabermetric. And you can think of the moderate sabermetric as everything squished a little more towards the middle. Right? But it's very negative on most of the offensive strategies except for base running. It's only positive on in the defensive shifts. But it is pretty positive on the matchups and the pinch hitting and pinch running. All right, so that's what sabermetric looks like. Here's small ball, the full version of small ball. Right. Positive on all the offensive strategies. I was actually surprised that bunt for hit is only like 1 or 2 plus instead of like, I thought it'd be a lot more positive. It's pretty neutral on the pitching and defensive strategies. And, but it is positive on the pinch hitting and pinch running. No, that's true, Shadow Lab. People were pretty negative towards the early tenure of Lindor. That's true. I think it's just a natural pessimism because like he started off slow, and so Mets fans like, oh, here we go again. It's like, I mean, fill in the blank with any previous Mets acquisition of a player who had been good and was no longer good with the Mets. There's a long list you could pull from. The one I remember is like Juan Samuel hit like close to 30 home runs with the Phillies. I don't think ever came close to it again, but of course, like the Mets acquired him after that. Yes, now we just know he's not good in April, right? Yeah. But now if he has a cold May, then the calls to get rid of him will start again. Okay, so this is small ball. We'll go to tactician next. So tactician, I just think it was a very hands-on strategy. More stealing. Squeeze bunt is actually positive. More pitching around and walking. More infield more infield and outfield shifting. More hooking starters. More matchups. More pinch hitting and pinch running. Just more active. Second base. Well, I mean, you can just put. You don't need the second base part. The Mets have just been terrible with acquisitions for the most part. But I'm hoping. Well, the Cano though, Cano was, I think Mets had to eat the Cano contract to get Diaz. So I don't think that was like, oh, we want Cano. That was like, we'll eat the Cano contract to like get this deal done. I don't think the Mets were clamoring to take Cano. Yeah, so these are just more active. I think befitting the name tactician. But that is funny. Now we know he's just going to be bad in April. All right, and here's trad traditional. Let's pull this one in. Trad traditional. Actually looks a little bit like tactician. In fact, let me just make sure I didn't pull. Let me make sure I didn't pull traditional into tactician. No, it's a little different. It is a little different. Yeah, that was correct. Because tactician is negative on hold runners, hit and run, and sacrifice bunt. Tradition. Wait a second. Wait. Traditional. I didn't think it was so positive on stolen bases. There we go. Okay, that's right. Traditional. Traditional was wrong. Ochoa, thank you. I clicked the wrong one. Yes, I did. Okay. So traditional, more flat, doesn't use the infield shifts, right? This is like the anti-statcast, anti-matchup, anti-analytics. K Turn got on the bandwagon when they went to the World Series in '86 and never got off. Let's see. I just started following the Mets as just wanted to be not a Yankees fan. Because I grew up near New York, and so, everyone was either a Yankees fan or a Mets fan. And I didn't really like the Yankees fans, so I was like, oh, I guess I'll be a Mets fan. Yeah, so this is traditional. So now, to avoid any confusion, let's go back at tactician. I will re-pull this, but I'm pretty sure this is correct. Yeah, so tactician just more active, a lot more things on the plus side. And then traditional you can just think of as like almost like I don't know. Maybe anti-analytics is the wrong thing, but like they don't use the shifting as much. They don't use the matchups as much. Everything else is pretty flat. So I think we're ready now. We can save this. I will save it as a quick start as well in case we ever want to fire this up again. Okay. Shadow Lab, not the Shadow Lab is biased, saying I won the lottery with that decision by becoming a Mets fan. All right, so kind of let them play, I guess. Like not shifting them, I guess is also part of that. The not caring about the matchups, I don't know. Yeah, KTRA, there's definitely some selective memory, I think. Um, but it's that the bad acquisitions I think were so bad. It's easier to remember those. But there's definitely some like reinforcing, kind of self reinforcing pessimism of the Mets fans. All right, so let's do this. This is where, how are we on the ads? Okay, you know what? The ads are going to start in a couple minutes anyway. We're going to fire them now. And consider this your 3-minute warning to fill out your form. And then we can talk about chemistry when we get back. If anyone in the chat wants to comment too, feel free. I'll catch up on the chat when we get back. But yeah, 3 minutes from now, I'll come back and we will close the pack giveaway form, check out the guesses, and then we'll start the simulation. Good luck, everybody. All right. I'm back from the refill my water, taking a little restroom break. I did see As Fire. I don't think we got a full 3 minutes, but I tried to make sure I gave enough time for everyone to do their forms. Let me get caught up on chat so you get a few extra minutes to fill out your forms. Okay, so Michael Akba had a question. Wonder if anyone's checked the change in team chemistry. So the only change I know in perfect team chemistry is that the variant chemistry. So in 25, combinators have their own chemistry. So you end up getting a combinator boost and a chemistry boost. That my understanding is that combinator chemistry boost is gone. So you'll still get the variant boost, but you no longer get a boost just for cards being variants. I don't know about the base chemistry, and in our experiments, I turn chemistry off because I don't want chemistry to be like a confound. I turn basically everything off that might change a team over the course of a season. Shadow Lab room with the Mets every year. I mean, you got to, right? If it's your team, you got to root for them every year. Let's see. Ochoa, the answer to your question is in the pack giveaway form at the top, but we use a completely average league in which all the players are average and league average and identical. Pitch counts and stamina. We have done the stamina test. We did that in 25. We haven't done it in 26 yet. That might be a good one to do, especially because we're hearing how stamina. Now, we're hearing how stamina is down this year, but I don't necessarily think it's the way the game is handling stamina. It's the stamina ratings appear to be down. We have a lot more pitchers with staminas in their 50s. And so I don't know that it's a game engine change. It might just be a card pool change. But we can test in the base game to see if there's been a base game shift in stamina. Yeah, Finder V has pointed out something that a rule of thumb that a lot of people seem to use is they base their pitch count limit on the stamina. What I don't know is how those players are adjusting now that the displayed staminas seem to be a lot lower this cycle. So yeah, so Kato's stamina plus 25 seems low. It probably seems low in this cycle. In past cycles where the staminas were higher, I think it made more sense. So I don't know what those players who use that rule of thumb, I don't know if they've upped that number for 26 or if they've kept it the same. Stamina is everything is era dependent, Kynan, I would say, including stamina. The leverage thing impacting stamina, that's the first I've heard of that. I've not heard that from OOTP or any of the modelers, but that's not to say that's not the case. I just haven't heard of that from anybody before. That would be something actually interesting to test, except that there's no way for us to control for leverage in our experiments. Okay, Toring asked the same question about what I just talked about with the leverage. Yeah. Well, one new thing that OTP announced is that while everything is era dependent, that meant a dead ball you could run a 2 or 3 man rotation. I don't know if this is just perfect team. I think it might just be perfect team, but they're now going to make pitcher recovery such that you'll need 4 starting pitchers. I think that includes dead ball eras across eras. They're changing the settings so that you'll need 4 starting pitchers. That was in a I believe a Discord announcement from the main channel. So Seems pretty official.
Okay, so let's go ahead and close the pack giveaway form. I think I gave everyone a good bit of extra time there since getting back. All right, closing the form. Good luck, everybody. All right, I'll put the let me put the guesses up in the chat here. We've got 9 respondents today, 9 participants in our pack giveaway game. Let me resize this a bit, and I'll put it in the stream. Okay, here we go. Which team will score the most regular season runs? It looks like sabermetric and moderate sabermetric are more than half the total guesses. Yep. Third would be tactician, followed by balanced. Which team will allow the fewest runs? It's much more mixed here. Small ball, sabermetric, and moderate tactician getting 2 guesses each. Moderate sabermetric, traditional, and tactician getting 1 guess each. And then the consensus is that we disagree. Which team will have the best run differential? Again, this goes back to sabermetric and moderate sabermetric. And then of the 6 moderate / standard strategies, people do think that one of the standard versions will come out as the best of these in terms of run differential. All right. And then we have the numericals, which we will get into after the stream. Okay, the thing I forgot to change, this is important. We have to change the schedule to 1,620 games. So here's how you do that. You go to league settings. Under options, you change it to 1620. And then we go to, this is the important part you need to do after that. You go to league structure and then generate schedule. So now it generated that 1,620 game schedule. One way we've been checking that is we go to the team schedule and go to December, and we see it's scheduled up till the 31st. I don't know of any way we can roll this to the next calendar year, but this year is full, so I feel pretty good that worked. Okay, but since our guesses are in, let me save this. You know what? I probably should have. Well, no, this is fine. The quick start is based on 162 in case we don't want to do the 1620. My favorite part is we go to the preseason predictions. So once you advance to opening day, you can access the preseason predictions. Not picking moderate is going to be a pain because it's so illogical. Oh, who got hurt now? That is the one bummer of the season starting is there's just every year so many players in general, but then when it oh, did I miss that? Was there something down here? Kindness felt lost as far as sliders are concerned, so I hope this provides clarity. Yeah, I hope it's helpful to people. The other rule of thumb I've heard is if you're not familiar with sliders, messing with them can hurt you more than it can help you. So that's probably good advice. Oh, Alfred. Wow, interesting. That should not have happened because our injuries should be off. Yeah, injuries are off. I'm surprised that happened.
Oh, you know what? We left storylines on. That might be why. All right, let's go back then to the quick start. Actually, let me check. There might have been enough days gone by that I'll turn them off now. We want them off for sure. Let's see if there's any outfielders who are injured. Thanks for catching that. They'll be in red if they're injured. Oh yeah, we can check. That's true. We can check the news.
Empty bowl on the ground that should have food in it, and it's very clear.
Why is my TV turned on? Yeah, one guy cleaning good. Oh yeah, look at that. Outfielder 1 injured making household repairs. It looks like he's healthy again. The other trick I can show you too is if they are injured, you can go into editor and turn the remaining injury days to 0. You can turn injury time left and make it 0. I've been in a sim where like Ken Griffey Jr. got hurt. He's one of my favorite players, even though I'm a Mets fan. It was like an ACL tear or something, and I'm like, oh, remaining injury time 0. He came back in 2 days. Well, Shadow Lab, I don't know if you remember this, but Bobby Ojeda famously chopped part of his finger off using electric hedge clippers while he was like during his playing career, not like after he retired. So it does happen. I did your that was a thank you for catching that though, K-Touring, because I didn't realize I had left storylines on. So we're gonna fix that quick start the next time we use it. Oh, okay, fine to be. Thank you for that. So the storyline can make the story happen, but the injury won't actually occur because injuries are off. Okay, thank you. Okay, thanks for confirming that, fine to be. That's very helpful. But just in case, I am going to turn that off because, I mean, not that it would have been a huge thing because we were just starting, but I would have, like, I had a little bit of a panic moment when K Touring told me about that news story. I was like, okay, how far back are we going to have to rewind this thing? All right, so I think we're good. So let's go. So once you're at opening day, you can go to MLB, reports and info, and then preseason predictions. All right, now, at least from an AI perspective, it thinks Tactician's going to win the most games. But from a run scored perspective, moderate sabermetric looks like, nope, sabermetric will score the most runs. It looks like it'll also give up the fewest runs. So they will probably have the best run differential, but for some reason, it thinks Tactician is going to win more games, which is interesting. All right, so let's go ahead and screenshot this. Now, a lot of times we look too at the top hitters and pitchers, but these are all completely average players. The only thing that might be different, and yeah, the stolen base numbers, everyone has the same stolen base rating. But you can see the sabermetric players and the modified sabermetric players have much lower stolen base totals. Yeah, I think one thing, Ochoa, that we've learned from this, especially when we mess with players with editor, is that the preseason predictions are not doing what I used to think it was doing. I used to think the preseason predictions were just the game would just run like 1,000 or 10,000 simulations really fast and then like distill those into some sort of prediction. I don't think it's doing that because we've done stuff in editor that has thrown off the predictions and they were like very far off from when it happened. So I think there's some kind of interesting algorithm it's using. And man, I'd love to know what that algorithm is. So I bet it's pretty cool. But In general, though, I think this is a tighter distribution of wins and losses than I would have expected. We're talking like a 30 percentage point, a 3%, right? 30 percentage point if you're talking about like 1,000 as perfect, but a 3% swing from last place to first place. That's not very big. In a 162 game season, this is a 5-game swing across 8 teams. That's tiny. The Ojeda injury, I thought it was in the off season, but it could have been during the season. I don't know. I guess postseason probably would have been too cold to be doing yard work, but so it might have been during the season. It was during the season? Okay. Yeah, so it was definitely while he was still playing. I couldn't remember if it was during the season or not. Yeah, I'm assuming, again, though, Shadow Lab, this could be the kind of thing where whatever algorithm the game uses to generate these predictions, I don't know that strategy is included in that. But let's find out. We'll go to the season view or the standings view. Now, the All-Star game... Oh, there is no All-Star game because we merged this into one division. When we do this with the 2 4-team leagues with no interleague play, there's an All-Star game in like 2027. But we're going to just do a full year. We'll sim the year of 2024. It takes, I think, about 7 calendar years to do this, to play the 1,620 games. And again, the standings will make it feel like it's telling us something, but again, there's so much RNG that goes into wins and losses that it's why we started using runs and runs allowed and run differential instead. Okay, so after one calendar year, it's still only a 23-game spread from first to last. So it seems like a lot, but you have to remember how many games we're playing here. I still say we're not really seeing any statistically meaningful differences yet. Traditional and balanced are pretty much tied for first. Interestingly, sabermetric, which is a favorite of a lot of people, is dropping to the bottom with small ball so far. But, we're very early in the sim so far. This is also one of the reasons I'm expecting things to be a little better than when we did this in 25. We would have already been done well before this, right? Because we were doing 162 games. And so it's hard to make any conclusions from this. And then I think going to the runs is also another big difference that we'll see today. But some of this experiments we've done, the takeaway was we can't tell. Oh, I did a month by mistake. I was supposed to do a year. Lindor equals sabermetric heating up. Traditional doing surprisingly well. If balance wins, that really gives a lot of fuel to the argument that if you don't understand sliders, you can do more harm than playing with them than just leaving them alone. Because balanced is pretty much down the middle. It's almost the default. All right, so we're 2 calendar years in now. We are starting to see some separation. There seems to be a top half and a bottom half of the league. Balanced, traditional, moderate, small ball, and tactician in the top half. We're both sabermetrics the 66%. Oh, for the guesses? Yeah, let's go back. We could take a look at that. At least for scoring the most regular season runs. Sabermetric and moderate sabermetric. Yeah, were made up 2/3 of the guesses. So sabermetric, both in the bottom half of the league so far. So we're now simming the year 2026. Balance, which is pretty much doing nothing, still sitting atop the league. Amazing. Oh, traditionals pulled ahead. Nope, they're in a dead heat now. Traditional and balanced. Now, again, to Baffle's point, in any team, you'd want to partially customize your strategy to your talent. But again, all these teams are just average talent, average. Now, it's league average, but even a league average team in the real league has some stars and some scrubs. This one, everyone's average. Sabermetric Manager really appreciate the fact that he can't be fired. Remember, though, everything's 10x, so he's only 7 games behind halfway through the season. Or I guess it's a little more than halfway at this point, but yeah. Outfielder 1 has a 53 RBI lead. Right. Or a 5.3 RBI lead, but yes, it looks amazing. Yes. I mean, think about these pitchers with over 1,000 strikeouts already. How tired they must be. All right, this is the year 2027. Balance back in first place. Tactician kind of putting themselves in a top 3 with balanced and traditional. Oh, Sabermetric's making it close now. Sabermetric in 4th place. Up, drop to 5th. Oh, innings pitched by the Cy. Oh, that would be interesting. Yeah, something around the postseason awards would be nice. Innings pitched by the Cy Young winner. Yeah. All right, we have, let's see, it's January of 2028. The regular season ends in January 2029. We have 1 calendar year left, basically. Sabermetric is basically 3 games out with about a little over a month to go if it was a 162 game season. Not insurmountable. I think it's funny that traditional and balanced are the top 2. But again, wins and losses, there's so much that goes into those. We're going to wait till we get the run scored data at the end. But this is pretty interesting. All right. So we'll finish the year. We'll have 3 weeks left after this. Rev Jr., let's go modern sabermetric and dead last by a long margin. Glad I used that for all my teams. Yeah, it's interesting that the moderates are falling to the bottom. Oh, no, as I say that, moderate small ball climbs to the top 3. Which is weird, right? Because moderate is more towards the middle, yet balance, which is in the middle, is in second place. All right, Moderate Sabermetric is the first team eliminated. Moderate Tactician and Small Ball are now out. All right, with 2.5 weeks left to go, there are only 3 teams left alive. One is already clinched. Traditional is in the postseason. Balance and Sabermetric are the last 2 standing. Let's go week by week. Sabermetric has just been eliminated. It is going to be Balance versus Traditional. All right, go to the end of the regular season. We have one more game to sim. All right, so our final standings. Now, actually, finishing 9 games behind, that does feel significant. But again, there's too much stuff that goes into wins and losses. But it is interesting and surprising, at least to me, that Traditional and Balanced are the top 2 teams. And again, what's funny to me is that two of the moderate teams that fell to the bottom. The whole idea of moderate is you're closer to the middle. Oh, you know what? I said I would do that, BD Cable, and I forgot to do that. Okay, we have to redo this. I'm going to save this, but we need to redo this. I forgot to... What did I say? I said I would... In the form, I said I would neutralize... I think I said I would neutralize the manager preferences. Or maybe I... Yes, I did say that. Well, actually, let's check. If they're... Oh yeah, you know what? I can't neutralize it because they don't exist in this. So we're okay. Because coaching is off, I can't even see personnel. So I can't neutralize them anyway. So they should just be using the team strategy. Normally, if coaching is on, you would see a personnel choice here. And then you could check the coaching preferences and ratings. Coach K. Ring says, in my mind, the guy who got injured in the preseason won 2 or 3 Triple Crown categories. Yes, BD Cable, all of my streams should be, VODs should be on Twitch for a few weeks at least. And then I try to export stuff to, or actually for a few months. And then I try to export stuff in batches to YouTube. In fact, that's reminding me I should probably do that this weekend. Okay, so yeah, so we're okay. There was no coaching that I could neutralize anyway. All right, so playoff coverage. Now this is just for fun. It's a small sample size within a smaller sample size, or it's a tiny sample size within a small sample size. So this is just for fun. In fact, let's go to the scores here since there's just one series. All right, Team Traditional versus Team Balanced. And again, just to remind ourselves, here's the Team Traditional strategy. Pretty much down the middle with minuses on position shifting and left-right matchups. And then Team Balanced, this is their strategy. It's pretty much down the middle. There are some that are slightly negative or slightly positive, but it's mostly down the middle. This is the closest to just leaving it as a default. Well, again, what I will say, though, Shadow Lab, is none of us have a perfect team, though, where everyone's just league average. So there's still that. Sabermetric could still be the best fit based on what kind of attributes your team has. I run a custom strategy, though, so I should maybe run that in here and see how bad that does. I might have to run that one off stream to see what happens first. All right, here we go. Let's go watch this series. All right. Balance versus traditional. It takes 12 innings. A balance beats traditional, scoring 2 in the top of the 12th. And then game 2. Traditional comes back to win 7-2, tying the series at 1. Travel day. Balance wins 7-1, taking a 2-1 series lead. Balance wins a pitcher's duel 1-0, 3-hit shutout of Team Traditional, taking a 3-1 series lead. Can they close the door and win the World Series against Team Traditional? They do 13-7 in a shootout. They win the series 4-1. Now let's go to the mailbox view for some postseason awards. Oh, we have to finish the day. That's right. And let's get a shot of the trophy. There we go. Team balance. Bala balanced. Let's go to the mailbox. And Great Glove. Oh, let's save this. So we'll do the postseason awards, then we'll look at the team stats, and then we'll give away the packs, and then we'll raid on over to Nolan. And then I'll be back on again at 10 p.m. tonight, Pacific time, to build some PTCS rosters. Oh, so all the awards, when you push out the postseason by this much, all the awards come out on the same day. So Great Glove Awards. Just looking to see if there's any patterns here that might be meaningful. It's pretty scattered. Platinum Stick Awards. I see 3 traditionals, but that's not really a lot given what we've seen in the past. Rookie of the Year. Again, it's a kind of a mixed bag of what teams are represented here. Cy Young Award. Couple sabermetrics in second and third, but I don't really see a pattern there. And then MVP. Yeah, again, it seems like a pretty mixed bag. All right, so then let's go to the stats. Team stats. Runs scored. Pretty tight race. I mean, traditional and balance did score the most runs along. 100 ahead of the next team, which is Team Tactician. So let's do this. Let me make a spreadsheet of the guesses for the pack giveaway. And what I'll do is I'll add a table where we'll track this stuff. Team runs V, and then run diff. So the order is Trad, Bala, MSB, Sabe, Tac, Small Ball, Modified Tac, Moderate. I keep saying modified, but it's moderate. Okay, we're going to type in runs, 7150, 7149, 6832, 7010, 7050, 6695, 6695, 6835, and 7014. Okay, and then for runs against, we've got to go to the pitching statistics. Here's runs against, 6904, 6972, 6912, 7031, 69.85, 68.15, 7100, 7016. Okay, then I'll share this on the screen. So now we're going to do the calculation. We can zoom in a little too. So we're just going to calculate the run differential equals runs scored minus runs against. Okay, so now if we do a sort on any of these, we'll get our answers. All right, so let's first sort by runs. Oh, I did a reverse sort, sorry. But it's traditional and balanced, right? Are 100 runs ahead of tactician. Ocho, I don't know what you mean by that's not the order. I just typed them in the order they're in the table over here so that we can do, because I don't think this, the view will not let you sort by clicking the header in the base game. So I do all that over here in, okay, disregard, got it. Yeah, Bob Dolly, that was the idea Baffle had too when we did this last year. But when we did go by runs, we are seeing a little more run differential in particular. We're seeing a little more difference than we saw last year. And then if we go by runs against, oh, so wait, let me sorry. I mean, it's by one run, but it did come out ahead. So let me just highlight that. And that is the lowest there. I mean, Small Ball had by far the fewest runs. It's 140 runs behind Moderate. Moderate, Small Ball 2 are the two worst in terms of runs, which you kind of expect, right? By definition, you're going for, you know, Small Ball. By definition, I think you're going for a lower run total. Well, actually, no, that's not true. You're playing a certain style of game, but it's leading to a much lower run total. So then if I sort by runs against, because I believe that was also one of the questions. So Small Ball did have the fewest runs against, though. And modified or moderate tactician had the most runs against. And this is where sabermetric and moderate sabermetric did pretty well. Or no, they did terribly. Sorry, they did terribly. Was just in the runs against. And then if we go to runs differential, right? I mean, it tracks that this matches the final standings. Or close to matching the final standings, I should say. Actually, I should probably add that in here, right? Now I just made it harder for myself because I'm doing this after the sort. I could go to wins. Okay, so traditional had 850 wins. Balanced had 841. Okay, now it's starting to get out of order. Tactician had 814. Modified Sabermetric had 763. Sabermetric had 825. Modified small ball or moderate small ball had 825. Small ball had 786. And moderate tactician had 776. Okay. So now if we go back and sort by wins, right? Run differential, of course, close to the top. Small ball suffered from not scoring enough runs. They actually were best at runs against, but they just didn't score enough runs. And then moderate tactician, for some reason, gave up the most runs. Now, this is a little... So most of our questions are based on runs against. So runs for. So let's do runs for. Okay, so how did I word that question about... Well, here, let's do this. Let's go... Let me switch back to the game for a second so I can make sure I've got the response page formatted. You know what? I should probably... Oh, I can't separate them now. Shoot. Okay, that's going to be a little annoying, but it'll be fine. I did the calculations on a tab in the same workbook as the form, the form with the guesses. So now it's going to be annoying to have to flip back and forth between them. All right, so first let me unhide, or let me keep the numerical guesses hidden. Okay, so here are the guesses. Okay. Which team... Hold on, let me get the stats back up here. All right, which team will score the most regular season runs? It was by 1 run, but it was traditional. Nobody guessed that. Hold on. Let me get caught up on chat here, too. Yeah, so Bob, I already responded to Bob Donnelly, and that's the same insight that Baffle had last year, which is if everyone's average, then there's not as much for the strategies to take advantage of, which I think is probably correct. Sabermetric won the pitching battle. Let's see. Sabermetric... I don't know. There were a lot more teams with fewer runs scored. Tactician was rigid 21's better than moderate tactician. Okay, that's interesting. In run differential. Small ball may capitalize on scoring situations, but when they do, they typically have fewer runs than just rolling the dice. Yeah, I agree with the giving away outs thing that you both are talking about there, Bob Dudley and Shadow Lab. Shadow Lab, at least I predicted small ball being terrible. What year is this? It's 2024. Andy from Sheffield, welcome in. Good seeing you. Remember when everyone predicted that people would sack bunt the guy to second in extras post-COVID? I don't think that ever... Yeah, I've never seen it myself, but I also don't watch a lot of games. So, okay, so in the first question, no one got this first question right, which everyone advances. That's good. Which team will allow the fewest regular season runs? And that was, I think 68-15 was small ball. So small ball allowed the fewest. It also scored the fewest. But let's confirm.
Allowed the fewest was small ball. Yeah. So small ball did allow the fewest. So that means Shadow Lab and Jerxes. You have guaranteed yourself some packs. Now let's see how many. Yeah, Balance was only behind by 1 run. He almost clinched it right off the bat. Jerxes did. Which team will have the best run differential? That was Traditional. Very close. Balance was second. He was very close there, but we're still, or they. I don't know if Jerxes is a he or she, but they. Very close. This was 1 run away from clinching it right off the beginning. Let's see. So now we're at the final non-numerical question. Of this 3, now this is a little deceptive because when I say that, it's because if you sort by run differential, right, 2 of the worst are moderates. But Standard Tactician did jump up to the top. Oh, actually, I guess it's not that bad because it's a moderate version of one, it's a standard version of one, it's a moderate version of one, it's a standard version, it's a moderate. Okay, so it is more mixed once you get to the final list. Yeah, at first I thought all the moderates were at the bottom, but that was in the standings, I think. But it is the Standard Tactician is the only one of these 6 that was positive in run differential. So Standard Tactician. Standard. You both guess standard. So you both advance. Okay, so now when this happens, we go to this new rule we have, which is whoever gets the most of these quantitative ones right is going to win. Now, just to see how everyone else did, I'm gonna bold 1 for everybody else if someone's closer than one of you two, but I will definitely always bold one of you two. All right, how many regular season wins by the regular season champion? 850. It was a pretty tight distribution. So overall, okay, who put my name in here? Okay, now I gotta peek to see what the what the All right, who is the? Oh, nice, nice. Okay. All right. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right, that is not me, by the way. You can probably guess by who's giggling in the chat who that is. But find if you should put your own name because this was a tremendous guess here. 849, 1 away. But of our 2 finalists, Jerxes gets the first one. Runs scored by the team with the most regular season runs. So if we go over here, 7150 by Team Traditional. So of our 2 finalists, that's Shadow Lab. Overall, closest to 7150, I think, is 7420 with the meme guess. Reb Jr. with the meme guess coming in. You know what? Just so I don't miss it, these 2 are our finalists. Let me highlight those. Okay. Runs allowed by the team with the fewest runs allowed. That was 6815. Oh, look at this. By 8 runs, Shadow Lab is closer. And overall, I think Shadow Lab is still the closest. Yeah, wow, nice.
And then stolen bases. We didn't look at that at all. Oh, sorry. I was on the wrong screen. I was looking at, is anyone closer than 6815 than Shadow Lab? And I don't think they are. Okay, so now we look at stolen bases. Probably predictably by small ball, 1816. So who's closest to 1816? 128 away. That's Shadow Lab. But overall, oh no, wait, 1816. Sorry, no. I was thinking 11. Sorry, I was off by 1816 is Jerxes. Sorry, 1816. Overall, 1816. I think it's Kato Ring. Yeah. All right, and then so we're tied at 2 apiece right now for Shadow Lab and Jerxes. This is Sacrifice Hits. 255 by Team Small Ball. Oh, look at that. 3 closer is Jerxes. But overall, Kynan, super close. 250. Nice guess. And then walks allowed. This is one I was curious to see if there's going to be a big difference based on pitching around and stuff like that. And we're looking for the fewest. Team with the most regular season walks. 5091 by Team Moderate Tactician. A moderate small ball was second most, but 5091. Shadow Lab very close with 5,000. Overall closest I think is Flying WV, aka Franchise Time Machine. Okay, so as of right now, Jerxes has 3, Shadow Lab has 3. It's coming down to the final one. How many home runs allowed? Okay, this says regular season walks. That should say regular season home runs. Home runs allowed is it the most? The most. The most home runs allowed is 1884. This is a pretty tight stat, so it doesn't. Oh yeah, so it doesn't seem like strategies had a ton to do with it. But Sabermetric gave up the most home runs with 1884. That's 64 away. That's 28 away. No, that's 300 in some way. I'm really bad at doing math on the fly here. 1884. Yeah, Shadow Lab way closer. All right, so Shadow Lab's going to take first place. It came down to the final one, though. That was pretty awesome. Jerxes comes in second place. Congratulations to both of you. And I'm finishing just in time to go pick up the kids without incurring a fine from daycare. I hope I remember which place I'm going to. Some days they're at after school at school. Some days they're at after school at their former daycare. I think I know where I'm going. But yeah, I'll let Nicolina know about the packs. You might not get them until Monday, but you will get your packs. And let's put the old title slide up. I don't know if that answered any questions for anybody, though. I'm a little confused that Traditional and Balance did so well.
And again, my sliders is up for tournament play, so I don't even know if they would actually do well in this test. I don't really have. I just use my tournament sliders for my league play because I'm not really big into league play. But VD Kill says validating my improved performance today. But yeah, I'm very surprised. Traditional and balanced did so well. Now look, it's not like sabermetric was terrible. Just and one reason tactician might be doing better in this cycle is it does seem like, and our tests so far have been proving out that stolen bases seem a little more effective in PT26 than did in PT25, and tactician is heavier on stolen bases. Yeah, Jerxies, it could be. It could be that on the defensive side, the small ball settings are pretty good. And then on the offense side, maybe traditional. Why don't we do this? The next time I do an experiment, which might be Saturday night, we'll drop moderate tactician who finished in last place, and we'll add defense from small ball, offense from traditional. And we'll see if that combination does even better. That would be fun. All right, let me see if Nolan's up yet. We're going to raid into Nolan here in a second. Oh, yeah, Nolan is live. Perfect. We're going to raid into Nolan. He is doing a Ted Williams record breaker save where he's trying to take Ted Williams, and I believe assuming like he doesn't miss years because of the war and just plays through, like how many records can he break. It's a very fun experiment. Looking forward to seeing how that goes, although I do have to go pick up the kids. But have a good time watching Nolan stream. I will be lurking, at least listening in while I'm going to pick up the kids. But hope to see you tonight for PTS roster build, or maybe tomorrow for the hybrid version of this experiment. And just to see if it's not just RNG, but does defensive small ball and offensive traditional combine to be unbeatable? All right, thanks everyone for being here. Congrats to our winners. And thank you, Dr. Dynastic, for the raid. And we'll see you next time.